I have 100% loyalty from Robin. So, okay, I guess that's like Robin. Nope, I'm just asking for loyalty.
You ever pay attention to how those who always go around saying alpha are the least likely to actually be an alpha if you need to tell everyone? Within a 5-second span that you're an alpha, chances are you're not, and today we're jumping headfirst into why that's a huge red flag and, quite honestly, kind of embarrassing. Buckle up, because we've got a lot to unpack. Seriously, how has this not been a meme yet? The dude we're referring to is the exact opposite of what he says if he's not the epitome of beta. Then we may need to create an entire new level zeta. Anyone that's literally the last letter in the Greek alphabet and somehow still too kind. You ever encounter a person who yells alpha energy, but all you get is secondhand cringe? Actual alphas don't advertise, they simply are, while the ones yapping constantly about it, they're typically the complete opposite. It's always the loudest in the room doing the hardest. Convincing to themselves. Come on, the entire alpha-beta phenomenon is so over if a guy is unironically throwing around those terms like he's hosting National Geographic. It's a huge red flag. The thing is, the truth isn't really about the label, it's about the vibe, and this guy's vibe, desperation, not dominance. No disrespect to anyone's way of life, but let's be real here, this is a huge misinterpretation. It's like he had heard the term alpha as a child and just took alpha and ran with it since, and spoiler alert, if you need to proclaim you're the alpha, you're likely the last thing on earth from it. You recognize that feeling when a person declares, I'm an alpha. That's your signal to exit fast. It's conveying insecure ego, not strong leader. And on the subject of cringe-worthy energy, can we discuss this photo for a moment? Did he get fillers, Botox? Something is off. He's tipping hard into the uncanny valley, and while there's no shame in cosmetic work, I've had Botox too. No judgment. It's the contrast that hits, especially from someone who once said he didn't want his daughters to even get their ears pierced. The hypocrisy loud, and then theirs. Robin, did anyone else see that her face completely changed? It didn't age, it changed almost as if her whole jawline became square overnight. Maybe genetics, or perhaps some not so good work. If she's looking for a fix, she may require more than Botox. A facelift could be the only actual solution, at least from what YouTube MDs are saying, but let's not forget the king of delusion himself, Cody. If this man is an alpha, I'm a unicorn in werewolf pack terms. He's straight up omega, bottom of the hierarchy. His ego is massive, but it shatters like glass. He's got the energy of an angry 8-year-old girl, and that's not a dig at actual girls, it's a dig at his entire persona at the end of the day. It's not being alpha, beta, or omega, it's about being genuine, and nothing shouts insecurity more loudly than someone desperately trying to control the story by yelling over it. That ain't alpha energy, that's play-by-play beta behavior. He likely figured riding the alpha male bandwagon would earn him a brand, a legacy, perhaps even respect. Spoiler alert, it's now a punchline. A terrible one. The guy looks like a walking filter, lips so full they have to have their own zip code. It's like seeing a toddler in a suit attempting to play CEO. You can't shout alpha while appearing a man-baby looking confused with a midlife crisis injected into your face. It's not masculine, it's not strong, it's a caricature alpha male. Try alpha fail. Let's discuss fantasy for a moment. Urban fantasy, werewolf pack hierarchy. Alpha is the big cheese in that world, beta second in charge, omega the weakling, the outcast, the person nobody pays any attention to. Cody, he operates in omega mode 24/7. He's not taking on equals, he's bullying in the comfort of his own home. All of this just reeks on the inside and out. He's yelling, I'm so alpha, and holding on to one wife and duck lips. If that constitutes strength, we need a new dictionary. Do you recall when the dog rolled over and he called it evidence that he was the pack leader? If that is not delusion, I don't know what is. And don't get me started on the fundamentals, man. Can't even spell on social media. You can't lead if you can't communicate. Emotionally immature, socially inept, and painfully oblivious to how silly it looks from the outside. Here's the thing, actual power doesn't. Yell it doesn't have to the loudest so-called alphas, 9 out of 10 there. The weakest link's Cody, who sported the permed hair and filler-filled face, isn't leading the pack. He's entertaining it. If being alpha is being the walking joke of your own narrative, then congratulations, he got it right. Ever feel completely drained by someone? Okay, who takes and takes but gives nothing back? That's what it feels like watching this unfold. And if
Hear that Cody is telling Janelle that the boys need to apologize to me. I didn't know he was doing that. I just want to...
you've ever experienced toxic family dynamics, this next part is going to hit hard. Remember season 19, the moment Mary finally moved out that iconic line? I'm sure Robin is brokenhearted, but that's something she has to process herself that wasn't. Just a quote, it was a breakthrough for years. Mary had tiptoed, sugar-coated, apologized. Just to maintain the peace, but that time she was finished. You could see it, Robin was struggling to drag her into another emotional hole, and Mary just said in essence, nope, I'm out. And then there was Cody insisting on comfort like a toddler in the throes of a tantrum it drained. It's me just watching it try living it. He and Robin sucked the life out of everyone around them emotionally, mentally, spiritually. That little scene wasn't sad, it was eye-opening. Everyone after 19 seasons has flaws. No one's perfect. But one thing's blazingly apparent. Cody and Robin are takers. They demanded all your time, your pity, your allegiance. But give back not one iota. That's the point. It's not about being alpha or beta or whatever in between. It's about energy, about what you give and what you get. And some people, no matter how much they yell about being a leader, were never going to be leaders to begin with. Toxic people don't hurt you, they drain you. They are like emotional vampires feeding off your energy, your guilt, your attention. And occasionally, the only way to survive isn't to fight, to leave. To stop explaining, stop fixing, stop hoping, just drop the rope. That's the honest, nobody admits toxic individuals never believe they are the problem. Somebody else is at fault, somebody else who made them do that. But when your peace is worth too much to maintain, the healthiest thing you can do for your mind, for your sanity, is to love them from afar. That's what Mary did. She stepped away stronger, smarter, and with eyes wide open, she finally realized through manipulation Robin's emotional games. Her guilt trips, it all made sense. Mary even said she's done feeling guilty. That's not just healing, that's a breakthrough. Let's not forget the harm Robin caused to the children. Either her conduct towards them was chilling, manipulating against Mary, severing contact. Unreasonably emotional splitting of siblings too. Have power, classic manipulation disguised as care. Recall that instance when she reprimanded. Truly's brother didn't practice social distancing, but rather than reprimanding her own child, Robin descended upon someone else's. It was an obvious blame-shifting ploy to save her pretense of being in control even in the midst of the pandemic. Mary attempted to stay connected, but Robin shut her down, wouldn't take calls or visits, said it was about not appearing to be a hypocrite, while others flouted rules willy-nilly. That's not care, that's control, and who can forget the drama? Quilt Cody insisting on having Mary's pieces returned to him as if he could simply remove her from the family history. That's not petty, that's narcissism textbook. Stiley probably pawned her ring as well. The sense of entitlement, the compulsion to revise history, it's breathtaking. And then there was the attempt at a redemption arc after Christine's departure, Robin and Cody desperately trying to save face. But it was not redemption, it was desperation. They did not desire to mend relationships, they desired to control the narrative, and they failed horribly in the end. Some of the family members matured, some of them grew up, but Cody and Robin, they remained. Stuck, still blaming, still taking, still unable to own up their agenda, isn't healing. It's control and keeping the cash coming. Meanwhile, Mary took back her life. She distanced herself. She ceased seeking approval. She apparently did the work, therapy, introspection, expansion, and it's clear that's what strength really looks like, not in yelling, "I'm right," louder than anyone else, but in letting go of toxicity and taking the path of peace. Taking yourself. So here's the bottom line. Respect those Who grow except those who leave and let go of the rope with emotional vampires? The best self-care decision you can make: walk away and don't look back. Ever wonder what actually happens when a younger, more petite upgrade comes into a polygamous family setup? Spoiler, it's not love, it's power positioning and control. Because when Robin came into the Brown family, the dynamic shifted quickly, and not for good. She appeared on the outside to be a fresh breath of air, but on the inside, it was a strategic takeover. I saw it for sure, despite weight gain, stretch marks, marriage burnout, and all the common wear and tear of long-term relationships. Cody still had romance with his first wives. He still shared tender moments with each of them. So what was he searching for? Robin even confessed she caught herself thinking he already had apples. Why was he grabbing an orange? The distinction wasn't one of compatibility, it was one of novelty, and more fundamentally of control. Robin's words were not loving ones, they were judgment-laden. She complimented Cody for remaining faithful despite his wife's bodies morphing, as if that made him a hero. Faithfulness isn't amazing, it's the minimum, but even while she framed him as faithful, she implicitly criticized the other wives for allowing themselves to go to seed, body-wise, soul-wise, or romance-wise. What Robin actually witnessed was not love. It was opportunity, a family on the threshold of reality TV stardom, a man willing to be waited on and worshipped. Waiting on Cody and passing the bills to Janelle was an easier route than punching a 9 to 5 o'clock. This wasn't spiritual, it was strategic. Imagine Robin becoming part of a family of confident, assertive women. Would she have become part of that equation? Unlikely. She didn't join up to be one among many equals. She wanted to be the one, and the manner in which she placed herself demonstrated it. Even her praise was laced with venom. The entire speech regarding effort and loyalty, it was a backhanded act. Robin may pretend innocence, but she's crafty and she knows how to cover manipulation with sugar. Remember that wedding dress scene? She hid it from everyone else and afterwards stated, "I felt like you didn't need to know.
This person is loyal and treats me like the head of the household. And if you really want to be a wife to me, this is how you need to be. I'm not going to be this
Experiences that wasn't protection, that was lying nicely packaged in a bow. Being close to 30 playing games, like that isn't innocence, it's conditioning. It raises more questions. Where did she learn this? And why does she continue to use it as leverage to advance? Cody's response said it all. The fact that he so happily dropped the bombshell during a family session indicated how little he cared about openness and how much he liked it's causing chaos. It was not a milestone, it was a red flag. The breakdown began there, and seriously, they survived longer than anyone predicted, likely due to the TLC payment checks. Christine's hurt from the couch scene was bitter. She wasn't around for days. Even Janelle appeared, caught off guard and distraught. But on television, the wives continued to sing Robin's praises about her positive influence. But come on, it all seems so staged. Robin remained constant throughout it all. Manipulative, softly spoken, and in control always. She never lost her temper. But she never had to. Her strength was in the performance. Amusing how the stretch Mark's comment came back to haunt Robin. Because guess what? She too has them. They were easily seen during her pregnancies. That double standard isn't petty, it's telling. When she humiliated the other wives for changing physically, she was acting as if she were superior to it, but the reality finally caught up to her. It's the hypocrisy that gets most noticed. She insisted on love and loyalty on her own terms. Her stipulation when she married Cody that he report to her if ever he lost his love, that was control, not romance. She needed a promise that she'd never be discarded like the other women. Every smile, every tear, every innocent entreaty, a maneuver in, a power play. And what about Cody? His six-pack went away years ago. His hairline's receding, his teeth are yellow, but no one ever held him to the same standard. Where was Robin's disgust then? Where was her loyalty? Stretch marks were shameful, but Cody's decline, apparently that was fine. And why wouldn't it be when you're the one sitting in a McMansion with a nanny luxury? SUVs, collectibles, and most of the family's property, Robin once called herself the Orange. Well, the Orange lives like royalty. The Apples, they live in RVs and fund themselves. So yes, Robin, you're absolutely right. It is different. Congratulations. You've got the man, but at what price? Everyone else witnessed the most manipulative, passive-aggressive coup d'etat ever to be seen on reality television. And no, it wasn't love, it was a strategy. Robin's behavior didn't merely tear the family apart, it destroyed it. And lying about 'tis merely rubbing it in. Most puzzling of all, she appears to be guiltless. No apology for being the cause of Cody's estrangement from most of his children. No compassion for the wreckage of emotion in her wake. My husband had cut off almost all his children to put me and mine first, while we also profited from funds intended for all of them. I'd be racked with shame. So why isn't she? Perhaps because she received precisely what she desired the moments in which she begs Cody to reconnect with his children. They ring false, particularly in the wake of Garrison's senseless death. It reads less like love and more like crisis management. Let's go back to just prior to that. Robin told another wife not to invite the kids home for Christmas. That is not a peacemaker. That is someone tightening their grip. And her eldest daughter's accusation that Robin did a lot to hold the family together. Oh, sure. If by hold the family together you mean assuring comfort and attention for her own children, while Cody overlooked the others, Robin cared little for Cody's relationship with his other kids. Particularly throughout the pandemic, when she lied to them so much that she said the others didn't want to spend holidays together. She knew why, though it wasn't lack of interest. It was split. Cody and Robin's actions can be only termed one way. Emotionally manipulative and intensely self-serving, they segregated themselves, played victim, and made excuses that put blame anywhere else. But where it actually was, Robin likes to refer to herself as an empath, but what she does tells us quite a different story, because empathy isn't a phrase that you utter, it's what you do to people when nobody's looking. And what we've witnessed of Robin hasn't been compassion, it has been entitlement. She's expressed a little conscience, little remorse, and less accountability from going through money that didn't belong to her to disagreeing with Christian principles she professed publicly to believe in. Robin's actions expose a theme. Righteousness cloaked as self-preservation. There is a definite narcissistic edge. She plays the victim even as she hurts emotionally those who are around her. Robin actually thinks she was done in by the original wives, claiming everything was fair and square when anyone observing could tell that it wasn't. Meanwhile, Cody, dainty, ego and all, dependent on her for a sense of being powerful. Once the family relocated to Las Vegas, the original wives started to test out greater autonomy. They evolved, they adjusted, but Robin, she tightened her hold by satisfying Cody's desire to be needed. She boosted her stature by becoming the emotional support. He never grew beyond Robin's entry, didn't simply augment the family, it shook things up. The original wives had spent years with real effort, collaboration, joints, toil, mutual sacrifice. Robin entered with not only children, but with financial burden.
Trying to blend with the family wasn't easy. There was challenges, but it was something that I wanted desperately.
And Cody, he went into guardian mode, redirecting family resources to fund her and her kids at the expense of the rest. Let's call it what it is. Exploitation. While other people did their fair share, Robin seemed more interested in what she had to gain rather than what she had to offer. She didn't enter into a family, she stepped into a throne. And slowly but surely the family was supposed to bow to the needs of her children while pushing everyone else aside. The estrangement Cody currently experiences from all but one of his children, that was not accidental, that was the result of repeated choices. Robin never questioned her actions are indicative of manipulations, warning signs, weaving narratives, minimizing hurt, and always putting herself at the center of every emotional sphere. Most revealing of all, she's never publicly admitted to having done anything wrong, not once. No apology, no taking blame, just more attention on how things impacted her, never on how they ripped through other people's lives. Robin claims she supports polygamy. She says she's all about unity, but what she does runs counter to every statement. Because true unity involves responsibility. True family is shared responsibility, and true faith, that doesn't take shelter in excuses. But Robin doesn't seem to have the guilt because she doesn't seem to think she did anyone any harm. And that is the most frightening part of all, when somebody can harm other people and still sleep soundly at night. That isn't empathy, that's emotional detachment in its worst sense as the family finances unraveled. So did the illusion Robin benefited from shared money owed to others, and yet the narrative remained? Poor Robin misunderstood, Robin victimized. Robin. But the truth is crystal clear now. The dynamic wasn't just unhealthy. It was carefully constructed to benefit a few while draining everyone else. What we're witnessing isn't just dysfunction, it's manipulation, masked as martyrdom at the center. Of the family's disintegration is a shared thread, selfishness, and a chill lack of empathy on the part of Robin, as well as Cody. Robin, over time, has come to represent a poisonous force within the family, driving wedges, breaking relationships, and always considering her needs and her children's comfort and her own above everyone else, the cost-crushing emotional wounds and alienation that she does not accept or regret. And if you thought that's the worst of it, just wait until you hear what went on with the Vegas house debacle. Robin's refusal to sell her Las Vegas house wasn't stubbornness, it was financially disastrous. It goes down in the annals of worst financial moves ever featured on reality TV. Episode 5, home prices start plummeting. And nothing's moving, everyone's scrambling except for Robin. Rather than doing something is going round and round. Price reductions, but here's the twist, her home isn't even listed. Why not? Because she hasn't cleaned it out yet. It's still packed with junk. You can't sell a home that's essentially a storage facility. While the others are frazzled and getting it all done, Robin's getting absolutely nothing. Zero, nada. Just hanging on to her stuff while everyone else pays the emotional and financial price, and then the excuse. She said she was keeping the house for a family reunion, but twist of fate. That reunion wasn't for almost a year. Logically, financially, even emotionally, it didn't compute if she really loved the families. Welfare, she could have said, we can't pay for 6 houses, let's rent something. Later. Done, issue resolved, but Robin doesn't do blunt. Robin does deflect, cut to the family gathering, everybody concerned with money and preparedness. Robin still clinging to her trash like it's a treasure, and this reunion of the self-proclaimed family still months away, so why the delay? Nobody knows, or perhaps they do and they just aren't verbalizing it, because here's the question that hangs in the air. Were the original wives invited to this reunion? Let's be realistic, Robin never really did view them as family, not in any meaningful emotional sense. They were show not plan, and if she did leave them out, that would have been a cheap shot. But not unexpected, because even when everyone was still going through the motions of being one big happy family, Robin had already checked out emotionally. This is what happens when someone treats money like an infinite resource and relationships like disposable assets. You get chaos, confusion, and decisions that make no sense to anyone but the person making them. And what about Robin's own family after almost 20 years on TV? Only her mom has the nerve to appear in front of a camera at parties, at birthdays, at holiday gatherings. It's her mom or nothing. Consider that after all these years, where is the rest of her family? That silence is deafening. Here's a picture for you, tense. Rising up around a family gathering, not for shelter, but to keep the cameras away. Why? Because Robin didn't want the crowd, or perhaps even her own family seeing who had bothered to attend. Think about it. What are they afraid of? Some call it paranoia. Others say it's guilt. Perhaps it's that her own family is ashamed to be part of her. Perhaps they know who she actually is beyond the facade. But then again, a couple of relatives still do appear, so it can't possibly be that bad, right? Perhaps they simply detest reality TV as much as we all do by now. Or perhaps they realize better than to appear on camera and attach themselves to this circus. The lack of an RSVP from Robin's relatives is deafening and suspicious. Now let's shift to the uglier origins of this dysfunction, Ob the Apostolic. United Brethren, for those who may be unaware, this splinter branch of fundamentalist Mormonism teaches polygamy as sacred, but it's dressed a whole lot more like control in holy language women here. Can't even vote or drive, and betrayal is essentially baked into the faith. It's faith employed as a leash, so to all those who broke free of this old, poisonous lifestyle in pursuit of true freedom, and you know Robin's stepfather? He appeared on camera as well, one can't help but wonder, how much did he tolerate all these years? Was he a silent observer, an enabler, or merely a bystander caught in? The sweep of Robin's carefully cultivated persona back to the Vegas home's time for money, if the mortgage was approximately $1,200 a month. Likely more. They could have easily scraped up enough in 5 months to rent a nice reunion hall, but no, they continued to hemorrhage cash. Why? Here's a theory that has been whispered among fans, perhaps. The family was unknowingly paying Robin's mortgage out of the common pot while she intended to pocket the sale proceeds. You know, keep them somewhere only Cody and she could touch. It's the perfect scam. Let others pay and plot. Your next move, then, plot twist. Guess who's the first to sell their home? Yep, Robin, and not just any home, the home. Completed backyard, no traffic sounds, prime location, of course. It sold first, of course. She cashed out in fairness. Forget it. Cody didn't seem to care about dividing the equity in Robin. She didn't even bat an eye on the moving scenario. It only gets better. Robin filled up for full-sized U-Haul trucks. Obviously, she wasn't moving or cleaning out any time in the near future. Meanwhile, Cody and one of the other wives were leasing their trucks $40 a day for months. At the end, close to $15,000 wasted just on rental costs, and those trucks, they stayed unpacked in Vegas. Why? Because the end goal was always the Flagstaff McMansion, a completely equipped dream house that Robin and Cody were vying for. When she did unpack, at last it was in the temporary rental in preparation for the actual prize. But when they moved into the McMansion, she hardly had to exert herself. Completely equipped, move-in condition. No rush, no sweat. Recall that fabled scene at the dinner table. Robin quietly in the background, letting everyone else freak out. Well, she held on to her plans and her power. It wasn't about a house, it was about control, and Robin just knew how to hold on to it. You recall the way? Robin rolls her eyes whenever Cody asks her about some doll or doll dress. That same old Robin look, like she's thinking, not this again. It's the best combination of annoyance and dismissal. And then there's Mona, the listing agent. When one family member backed out, they recruited Mona to sell the Vegas home, but things didn't quite work out. Mona boldly guaranteed the house would sell within less than a month, yet it remained unsold for more than a year. In the meantime, Cody's own market analysis efforts, worse. As you watch those shows when they constructed the Vegas houses, you could plainly observe Mona's patience thinning. For real, anyone who worked there behind off to bring about those dreams most likely never wished to work with this family again. Selling those homes away from home, that was absolute madness, and the family reunion reason for not putting the house on the market months after they had vacated it. It just doesn't hold water. The reunion was almost a year away. Whatever. Robin was doing it, wasn't listing the house. She was stalling, running around in circles to keep the house from being sold even. With airfare booked months in advance, Robin was obviously the least ready to move, even though she was the one driving the entire plan. Whenever assistance was required, the other mothers had to have the children run over